I'm going to start with the eyes, as the eye makeup is quite heavy, and if there's any fall down from the eyeshadow, it's easier to wipe it away before you do your foundation. I'm going to start by priming my eyes with my Urban Decay primer potion. And this really helps the eyeshadow to stay on and prevent creasing. Sienna's look in this was very kind of dark and grungy looking, so it wasn't too polished, so the eyeshadow's a bit messy. It's mainly using navy and black for a really intense smoky eye, because this is supposed to be the 60s and it was all about the dark smoky eye and a nude lip. I'm going to use my MUA Undressed palette, and I'm mainly going to be using this navy shade here and this slightly darker one, and a few of the transitional colours as well. I'm going to start with a transitional shade, and I'm just going to use this light brown colour here. Using a nice fluffy brush, I'm going to pop that through the crease. Then I'm going to take my flat e.l.f. brush and pack the navy blue colour from the eyeshadow palette all along the lid. I'm just going to tap up a little bit of the excess here. So we just want to initially get the colour on the lid first of all before we worry about blending it or anything. So just really getting that intense colour packed on there. Sienna in this look has the colour really intensely all around the eye and a lot of eyeline. So I'm going to bring the same blue colour underneath the lash line as well. And again, don't worry if it's messy, because that's kind of the look we're going for. I'm going to go back in with my fluffy brush in the same brown shade I used earlier, just to soften out the edges. Take the same fluffy brush and then the slightly darker black shade in the palette. I'm going to take that on the outside of the eye, just on the outer V and slightly through the crease. So we really want the intensity to be at the outer perimeter of the eye. So just really packing that on and making the colour quite intense. And just reapply that to make the blue show up a little bit. I'm taking a slightly darker brown here just to deepen up a bit further in the crease. I'm going to go back with my pencil brush and some of the black eyeshadow and just pop that on my bottom lash line. Now this does look quite messy, and you know, you can see that there's fallout and everything, but don't worry about that because I'm going to go in and clean everything up before I put on my foundation. I'm going to take black eyeliner on the inside of the eye and on the outside as well, the lash lines. I'm just using my Bourjois Khol Kajal for that. Sienna has it all the way around, even in the tear duct area, so that's what I'm going to do. Sometimes it's easier if you're wanting to do the top waterline and the lower is just to basically put the eyeliner in but close your eyes and just run it back and forth like that. Just really want this to be really intense and dark, and then as I say, I'm bringing this onto the actual lash line itself and above. I'm just going to go in with my pencil brush again and just further smudge that out, especially on the top, because you just want it to be really smoky and messy and a lived in look. So basically it's just going back and forth, keep blending, keep adding on until you get the desired look, which is pretty messy, smoky eye. I'm going to go in now with one of my Cotton Buds with the liquid inside. I'm just going to clean up a lot of the fallout before I apply the rest of my makeup. So just going back in and adding a little bit of blue colour. She was definitely wearing false lashes in the film, but I don't have any, unfortunately. So I'm just going to apply my favourite Maybelline Lash Sensational mascara. I'm just going to apply a lot of it. I love this mascara because it sometimes does look like you're wearing false lashes. Okay, mascara done. I've just added a lot just to make it look like I have false lashes on. Just make it really dark and smoky. I'm now going to move on to eyebrows, and I'm going to use my sleek eyebrow pencil. And first of all, just use the spoolie end just to brush them through. Sienna had quite a full dark eyebrows, so I'm just going to go slightly darker than I normally would because it really will help balance out the smokiness of the eyes. I'm just taking the spoolie end again and brushing them through a little bit so they're not as harsh at the front, and it really disperses the colour. So I'm going to go in with my 18-hour Stay Time concealer, and I'm going to go in under the eyes and on any blemishes. Especially with this, there's a lot of fallout. For putting concealer on blemishes, I just put it on the back of my hand and then use my brush to pick that up. I'm actually going to take a slightly lighter concealer as well to put a bit more under my eyes, and I'm using the Stila Illuminating Concealer. You don't need much of this, just a few dots, just to really brighten up under there because it is so heavy on the eye. So just using the same brush again, just gently patting that in. And then I'm going to set that foundation and concealer with my Body Shop All-in-One Face Base. Sienna was really bronzy in the film. I'm going to use this Bourjois bronzing primer first of all, which is just like a cream bronzer, and I'm going to use this Eco Tools brush for that, dipping in but then kind of tapping off the excess into the lid. And I'm just going to add this not so much as a contour, but basically where, you know, you would get a bit bronze, so kind of more on the cheeks. Whoa. Okay, that's a lot. So I'm just going to take my foundation brush and just use that to diffuse some of the colour, because that was intense. So just using that on the jawline as well, a little bit on the temples. And then, as that's a bronzing primer, I'm just going to add a little bit more bronzer on top. And I'm using this Natural Collection bronzer. It's got an ever so slight shimmer in this one, so you wouldn't want to use it for contour, but it's nice just to bring a bit of warmth to the face. Just putting it back over where I put the bronzing primer. Some on the nose. Sienna didn't seem to have too much contour or highlight or anything like that, so I'm just going to add a little bit of blush. I'm going to use a bit of this NYX pink blush, which looks really bright on camera, but it's not that intense in real life, and you can obviously sheer it down a little bit as well. So using the same brush I just used for the bronzer. And then I'm going to add a tiny bit of highlighter with the Moonbeam, but just literally like 2 little dots like that. just to give a little bit of a sheen, but not too much because she really didn't look overly highlighted. Sienna had quite a lot of freckles, which I don't have naturally, so I'm just going to take my eyebrow pencil I used earlier, the sleek one, and I'm just gonna add some faux freckles, some a little bit smaller, and then just take, you know, your foundation brush and just gonna go over those just to make them less harsh. And then of course, because it was the 60s, Sienna had on a really nice pale pink nude lip. I've got foundation on my lips just from doing my foundation earlier, but my lips are very pigmented naturally, so it's quite good to kind of blank them out a little bit before I go for a pale pink lip. It did look like she had some lip liner on, so I'm going to take this Collection lip liner, which is just a really nice natural pink, and just really quite softly outline my lips. I'm not going to fill them in because I want the lipstick to be true to colour, so I'm actually going to use two different lipsticks for this. She did have quite a pink lip as opposed to kind of a nude beige lip or anything, so I'm going to start off with this sleek lipstick in Baby Doll, which looks again really bright on camera. It is slightly brighter, but I'm just going to dab this very gently as a base colour. I'm going to dab in around the lip liner and the colour just to make it a bit more muted and subtle. But then over the top of that, I'm just going to add a little bit of this L'Oreal Colour Riche lipstick. I feel this is still a little bit too pink actually, so I'm just going to take my foundation brush and just very gently kind of pat it on, just to mute down the colour, but also to make it a little bit more matte again to go with the 60s look. Okay, so there we go. That's the final Sienna Miller and Alfie inspired makeup look. I actually really love the 60s looks anyway, with the dark smoky eyes and the pale pink lip, but I really like this one because it is a little bit more grungy. So I hope you've enjoyed this makeup look, and I will see you next time. Bye!